To my Betfred World Snooker Championship 2018 preview video. I was going to release this as video, but I might as well just do it live and we can have some contribution from you guys as well in the chat if people do indeed turn up. Now, before I get into things, I do just want to alert you about a brand new series I started accidentally last night with the World Snooker Championship 2005 playthrough. The link to that is down below in the description. It accidentally came out last night. It was meant to come out right this second, but yeah, schedule issues mean that it came out last night, so make sure you do go and check that out if you are interested in snooker or games or whatever. Please go and check it out. Anyway, I'm Joe if you're new around here, and if you didn't know, it is the World Championship starting at the weekend, Saturday, the 21st of April, I think it is, 10 AM on BBC Two. It'll start with the world champion Mark Selby, who's won the last two World Championships. He'll be starting off against Joe Perry, and that is a very tough first match for him, but he'll be kicking things off as is the tradition. Evening to TIJ and Robert Ponton in the chat. Good to see you, and hopefully you'll enjoy the video. But yeah, the draw was made at 12 o'clock today. It was meant to be made at 10 AM, but apparently technical issues meant that they had to postpone it at 12. So without further ado, we'll run through the first round matches, and then we'll have an in-depth look at each of them after that. So first off, you've got Mark Selby, the world champion, versus Joe Perry, who dropped out the top 16 recently. Quite a good player. Mark Allen versus first debutant Liam Highfield. I think that will be a one-sided match, but you never know. You've got Kyron Wilson versus Matthew Stevens. Kyron, a very young player. Matthew Stevens, a two-time runner-up. Arguably should have won it many years ago. Then Sean Murphy versus former quarter-finalist Jamie Jones. Sean Murphy, obviously the 2005 world champion, looking add a second title to his collection. John Higgins, the four-time world champion, versus Tepchaya Unnu, the fifth Thai player to play at the Crucible, another debutant this year. And then we've got Stuart Bingham, the 2015 world champion, playing Jack Lazowski, one of the young prospects of the game. A lot has been said about him potentially being a future world champion. I think that will be a lot closer than people think. We've got Luca Bracel against Ricky Walden. Walden got the semi-finals a few years ago, losing out to Barry Hawkins. Very talented player. I'm a big fan of Ricky, and hopefully he'll do well. Judd Trump, 2011 runner-up and world number 3, will play Chris Wakelin, another debutant this year. Maybe the lowest ranked in the tournament. I'm not entirely sure. It goes between him and another guy that's coming up in a second to whether that one's true. Ding Junhui will play fellow Chinese player Zhao Gudong. I think that'll be quite a good match. It'll be quite entertaining, I think. Hello to Bellix and Craig Oldham in the chat as well. Then we've got Anthony McGill against Ryan Day. Ryan Day's won 3 tournaments this season and isn't in the top 16, so that is a tough draw for Anthony McGill, and I do favour Ryan in that match. We've then got Marco Fu, who is returned after about a 6-month absence from the game. Actually, no, about 4 months. He played in the Masters in January, but he's had something going on with his eyes. He's had some surgery, and he hasn't played since, but he has entered the World Championship. He's going to give it a go. Don't know how competitive he's going to be. He's playing Liu Haishan. I think that's how you... or Haishan. Another debutant, one of the youngest players in the draw. I think he's 20. Who did he beat again? I think it was maybe Adam Duffy. That might have been who he played in the final qualifier. We will get that up as we go on through the night. We've got Barry Hawkins versus Stuart Carrington. He's played in the last 3 World Championships. Stuart Carrington, Barry Hawkins, a former runner-up at the Worlds, and usually does well at the Crucible, to be honest with you. Then we've got Mark Williams, 2-time World Champion. He'll be playing Jimmy Robertson, and then Neil Robertson, the Thunder from Down Under, 2010 World Champion. He'll be playing Robert Milkins. We've then got Ali Carter, who I'm actually playing in the first round on that video. 2008 and 2012 runner-up. He'll be playing 2006 World Champion Graham Dott. I think that's going to be an entertaining match. And the Rocket, 5-time champion of the world, Ronnie O'Sullivan, will be playing Stephen Maguire, who got to the semi-finals in 2007 and 2012. But anyway, that's the first round matches. We'll have a little look at each match, and we'll sort of speculate who might win. I've also got a couple of cheeky bets on. We'll have a look at the odds as well from the bookies. Yeah, I've put 2 16-fold accumulators on the first round matches, so I'll let you know exactly which ones I've gone for, and yeah, my potential winnings if they come true. But who do I bet on to win it? Well, we'll come to that in a bit. But yeah, first match is Mark Selby versus Joe Perry. Obviously, Selby, a 3-time World Champion. He's won the last 2, so he's on a undefeated run in the World Championship, and he's playing Joe Perry, who played Mark Davis in the qualifiers. Another guy that's quite competitive. He also put out Jimmy White in the qualifiers last week as well. So 6-time runner-up, obviously. Jimmy White, he is a bit old now, but you know, still a good victory for Joe Perry. He is ranked, I think, is it 20 something? I've got the rankings up as well. He's ranked 22 in the world, so I think that's a tough one for Selby. I have actually backed him to Joe Perry to go through in one of my accumulators, just to bump up the price a little bit, and because I quite fancy him to do it, but it is going to be a tough one. Joe Perry got to the semi-finals in 2008 and had a great match with Ronnie back in 2014, I think it was, in the quarterfinals. Ronnie was 11-9 down, and then Ronnie came out, played sublime snooker, won 4 frames on the trot to go through 13-11. You hating on Jimmy White there? I'm not hating on Jimmy White. I'm just saying, you know, he's old now, so probably not expected to beat Joe Perry. But that's just the way it is. You know, I really want Jimmy White to get back into the Worlds. He hasn't been there since 2006, though, so it's getting more and more unlikely as the years go on. Bet Joe, bet incoming. A few people like Perry, and a few people like Mark Fu as well want him to do really well. Hello to Aaron Hudson. How are you doing, sir? So yeah, Mark Selby is obviously the favourite for that match, and he'll probably go through, but don't be surprised if Joe Perry does something decent against him. Next, we've got the 2018 Masters champion, Mark Allen, and he'll be playing Liam Highfield, who is one of the debutants, as I alluded to before. Now, Liam Highfield is actually ranked 64 in the world, so he's possibly on the cards of maybe losing his tour card. I doubt it. He's made some money from the world qualifiers, so he's 64 in the world as it stands. But obviously, once all is said and done, you know, he'll probably move up a little bit. But I only see this really going one way. Liam Highfield played Daniel Wells, fellow Welshman, I think, in the qualifying. It was 5-4 actually going into the evening session, but Liam Highfield played quite well. Got a couple of 50 breaks and stormed away with the next 5 frames and took the tie 10-4. So quite a comfortable victory for Daniel Wells in the end. And yeah, I see it being one-sided. I would back Mark Allen. And a lot of people are backing Mark Allen to actually lift the whole thing. I don't think that personally. I don't think he's got the game to actually win the World Championship. over the longer matches, but he did very well in the Masters in January, and don't discount him. And yeah, we'll see. Do you have some unpopular opinions on this? I don't think he does. He has no idea about snooker, TIJ, so it's going to be interesting. Anyway, the next match is Kyren Wilson versus Matthew Stevens. Now, Matthew Stevens has had a few problems with his back the last few years, so he's dropped down to 52 in the world, but he did get the semi-finals back in 2012, and finalist in 2000 and 2005, and you know, he can beat anybody on his day. Kyren Wilson, one of the better players in the world now. I think he's actually number 9 in the world going into the World Championship, so he's going to be a tough player to beat, and I actually back Kyren Wilson to do it. He's 33-1 to win the whole competition, and you know, he got the final of the Masters in January, nearly won it. I think it was 10-8 in the end against Mark Allen. So Kyren Wilson might be worth an outside bet, maybe an each way bet. I think on Sky Bet you get half for the two finalists. So I think that's worth a punt. But obviously he's got to get through the likes of Selby maybe in the quarterfinals, which would be very, very tough. He did play him in the quarters a couple of years ago, actually. I think he got beat 13-5 or something. But yeah, I back Kyren Wilson in that match, but again, don't be surprised if Matthew Stevens rolls back to the A's and maybe squeezes through that one. Now, this is an interesting match coming up. Shaun Murphy versus Jamie Jones. Now, Shaun Murphy, like him or loathe him, he's one of the most hot or cold players in the world. He can beat anybody on his day. He's been a 3-time world finalist, winning it in 2005, losing it in 2009 and 15. And, you know, he's probably due another big title at some stage, but he's coming up against a man that beat Liang Wenbo. Now, he is, you know, if you're not into your snooker, Liang Wenbo is one of the top players that are just outside the top 16. Now, Jamie Jones, former world quarterfinalist, hasn't really done a lot since, beat him 10-0 in qualifying. So he's coming in full of confidence, and he'll be really looking to inflict some damage on Shaun Murphy, the magician. World number 8. It is going to be tough, though, for Jamie Jones. Where is he ranked? He is down in 51st position. So, you know, that kind of says it all about his sort of decline from grace in the last few years. But Shaun Murphy, always one to be under pressure in first rounds, it seems. But in some of the accumulators, I've actually backed Jamie Jones to win. Because I think Shaun Murphy is vulnerable in that first round, and I don't fancy him to do very well. The bookies have got Shaun Murphy at 22-1, which, you know, you can look at it either way. It's quite long if he is playing well. He's more than capable of winning it, but it's a tough opening round, and I think that's going to be a good match. Next, we've got John Higgins versus Tepchaya Unnu. The Thai player. If I was Murphy's manager, I'd set my team talk to assertive in the dressing room. Tepchaya Unnu played Alfie Burden. I actually watched that match. It was a pretty good one, 10-8. I don't think Unnu's got the game to beat John Higgins, though. Finalist last year, 4-time world champion. Higgins, the world number 5, going into this tournament. He's had a good season. Reached plenty of quarters and semi-finals. Now, Tepchaya Unnu is actually ranked down in, let's find it, 58th place. So we've got quite a few players ranked in the 50s getting through to the Crucible this time. So that is quite surprising. But I would back John Higgins all the way in that match. Murphy is really good or bad, nothing between. 100% agree, Robert. It's always the same with Murphy. He's either, you know, knocking them in off the lampshades or not doing well. And I think Jamie Jones, a player that's playing well, could well shock him, because Jamie Jones isn't scared of the Crucible stage. Now then, next match, Stu Bingham, 2015 world champion, playing Jack Lisowski, one of the highly rated players on the circuit at the moment. Played very, very well in qualifying. Jack Lisowski actually beat Alan McManus, 3-time semi-finalist, I believe, maybe 4-time at the Worlds, 10-3. So that is a really good result for Jack Lisowski, and he's coming in brimming with confidence, whereas Stu Bingham, he's not playing that well. He had a 6-month ban for, well, it wasn't match fixing, but it was irregular betting or something like that. So Stu Bingham, I think he's going to be under pressure, and I actually do back Lisowski to win that one, and I'll be cheering him on because personally Bingham should have got a bigger ban for me, but that's the way it goes. Bingham's actually 28-1. I don't think he's got any chance of winning the World Championship, so it's probably a bit generous for him. We've then got Luca Bracel versus Ricky Walden. Now, Bracel actually won the International Championship, I think, earlier in the season, which has propelled his ranking up to 13 in the world. You know, and he hasn't really done a lot since, it's got to be said. You know, he's one of those players that I'm not expecting to do particularly well in the Worlds. He could surprise us. Ricky Walden had a decent time of it in qualifying. He beat Andrew Higginson 10-6, and that's a good victory. Higginson is a decent player. He's actually ranked... where is Higginson ranked? 59. He's dropped down a bit as well. It's crazy how many players are dropping down, but Ricky Walden, 27th in the world. He's won a couple of ranking events, obviously got to the semi-finals a few years ago, seems to be getting somewhere back towards his best snooker. So I think Ricky Walden is by far the favourite for that match, and the bookies agree with that one. So yeah, Ricky Walden to win that one in my opinion. We've then got Judd Trump against Chris Wakeland. Now, Trump is one of the most popular players in the world. Not my cup of tea personally. He's the Max Verstappen of the snooker world, if you want to put it that way. He just tends to smash them about, and yeah, I don't like him at all, really. But he's world number 4 at the moment. He's played well this season, to his credit. And he comes up against Chris Wakeland, one of the debutantes, and he beat Tian Peng Fei 10-1. I think that's a really good result for Chris Wakeland, who's 55th in the world, so another one of the 50-odd ranking players in there. Judd Trump, by far the favourite. I wouldn't expect Chris Wakeland to really compete with him, but you never know. Trump is another player that's hot and cold. Joe beat you to it, TIJ. Anyway, Ding Junhui versus Zhao Gudong. Now, Ding Junhui's the world number 3 going into this championship. And, you know, he's had an alright season. I wouldn't say he's been brilliant, but, you know, he's got ranking points from somewhere. Now, Zhao Gudong, 25th in the world, another Chinese player. I think that one could be quite close, maybe 10-6, 10-7. But I would expect Ding Junhui to prevail eventually from that one. We've then got Anthony McGill versus Ryan Day. Now, I only see one winner here. I don't really know how McGill's still in the top 16. He is just, it is very close between sort of 11th down to 19th, and any of them win a tournament, they're shooting right up. But Anthony McGill, 14th in the world, he's playing Ryan Day, 17th in the world, so this is probably the closest ranked 2 players. And it is going to be a tough day at the office for Anthony, and I really do think Ryan Day will do well. He beat Peter Ebden in qualifying, which is a good result. Ebden came back at him. He was 6-3 behind, came back to 6-all. Ryan Day pulled away for 10-6. So, yeah, Ryan Day, as I said, he's won 3 tournaments this season after not winning any before this year. And, yeah, I think a quarter-final might be realistic for Ryan this year. We've then got Marco Fu versus Liu Hayatan. Where is Liu Hayatan ranked? He is ranked Is he even lower than what I think? Maybe not. I've missed him. Where is he? Scrolling in this list of 100 and odd players is not easy. He can't be ranked this high, surely. Where is he? I've tried it twice. Liu. There we go. 68 in the world. So I think he is the lowest ranked player in the tournament. Now he's playing Marco Fu, who, as I said, hasn't actually played anyone there the last 4 months or so. So that's gonna be tough for Marco Fu. He's probably a better player than Lou, who did he beat in qualifying? He beat Rory McLeod, actually, 10-2. Now, McLeod put out Judd Trump last year, so that's a really good result for him. And, yeah, it's going to be tough for Marco Fu, and I think Lou will win it. I've backed him in both of my accumulators. I just don't see how Marco Fu can come from 4 months out, still having the problems with his eyes, and compete. As long as Lou doesn't, throw it away, he should get through that, I think, which would be a cracking result for him. Next, we've got Barry Hawkins versus Stuart Carrington. Now, Hawkins has got a very good record at the Crucible. I think he's made at least the quarterfinals the last sort of 5 years. He's a perennial contender up there. He's world number 6, which shows how consistent he is. He's recently won a tournament, I think, or at least he got the final. He got the final in China. And he's playing Stu Carrington, who is ranked down at 56 in the world. I can't believe how many players ranked in the 50s have got in, but Carrington actually beat Zhang Anda. So that was a decent result. Zhang Anda been to the Crucible a couple of times, and Carrington 3 times in a row now for him. So good on him for getting through to that. But Barry Hawkins, you would say, by far the favourite for that one. I am a Fu player. I love that. I really love that. Mark Williams, the 2-time world champion, will play Jimmy Robertson, who has reached the Crucible on a number of occasions. He hasn't won there yet, but you never know. This might be his year. Will you go to the Crucible one time? I have been to the Crucible. 2011, I watched Ronnie O'Sullivan versus Dominic Dale. Will I go to the Crucible to play? Probably not. I'd love to, but there's no way I'm good enough. But yeah. So we've got Mark Williams playing Jimmy Robertson. Now, Jimmy Robertson ranked 34 in the world. He's made a good career out of it. He's always sort of in the last 32. Mark Williams, 7 this year. He's won a few tournaments. He's been in finals. He seems back to his best. But Mark Williams can be hot and cold as well these days. So Jimmy Robertson beat Michael White 10-7 now. White's won a couple of tournaments, so that's a good victory. But I do back Mark Williams in both accumulators. I think he will prevail. Do you have a snooker nickname? I don't. Probably the Juggernaut or something like that. Juggernaut Joe Haddard. Anyway, we've got Neil Robertson versus the Milkman, Robert Milkins. And, Robertson hasn't had a good season. He won the Scottish Open, which sort of brought him back up to 10th in the world. But he had dropped out the top 16 for a little bit. Robert Milkins had a really good result, actually. He beat Michael Holt 10-3. That is a good result. And Milkins is ranked not far out the top 16. 37 actually, but he was in the top 16 a couple of years ago. So, Robert Milkins could cause a shock. I do back Neil Robertson. I think he is sort of somewhere nearer his best than he was at the start of the season. And Milkins traditionally doesn't do too well at the Crucible, so expect a Neil Robertson victory there. We've then got Ali Carter versus Graham Dott. Now, this is one of the standout ties for me. Ali Carter ranked something like 15th. Yeah, going into this tournament, he's ranked 15th. And then we have got Graham Dott ranked at 21. So, again, close players in the rankings. Dott's reached 2 finals this season at the German Masters and the Shootout. And Ali Carter, as far as I know, hasn't done anything, really. So I think that'll be a Graham Dott victory. I think in both accumulators I backed Graham Dott, but it could quite easily be Ali Carter as well. And then finally, of the first round matches, we've got Ronnie O'Sullivan versus Stephen Maguire. Now, this is by far the standout tie. You've got Maguire ranked 18th. He's won 4 ranking events, and he's had a decent season. He's reached a few semi-finals. The player everybody probably wanted to avoid in the draw, except Ronnie. He's got a really good record against him, 18-4. Ronnie's won 4 ranking events this 5 ranking events this season. He's reached the final of maybe another. He's just been brilliant, and he's by far and away the leader on the 1-year list. And you know, Ronnie's by far the favourite for the World Championship. He's only ever lost 3 first round matches since he started playing at the Crucible in 1993, and he hasn't lost in the first round since 2003. So it's a tough draw for Stephen Maguire. I feel like anybody else, and Maguire would have had a really good chance, but against Ronnie, I'm really not convinced that Maguire can pull through. So obviously, smart money is on Ronnie for that. But there we go then. That is all the first round matches. And as you can see to the left of me, you've got the sort of tree of how the draw can work. So we can see already potential matchups. So Ronnie O'Sullivan could be playing the likes of Mark Williams or Neil Robertson in the quarters. I think Ronnie would be really pleased with that. You know, the first player that, you know, maybe could compete with Ronnie is semi-finals, Ding Junhui, and I don't think Ding will get there. I think Barry maybe could beat Ding. But yeah, you know, Ronnie could have quite a clear route to the final if you look at it that way. And, you know, Mark Selby, very tough draw. He's probably going to play Mark Allen in the second round. He's then either got Kyron Wilson or Sean Murphy, seed-wise. Again, very tough in the quarterfinal for him. And in the semi-finals, he could have John Higgins or Judd Trump, in my opinion. And that, again, is tough for Mark Selby. So, you know, smart money would be on a Ronnie O'Sullivan and somebody else final. Looking at the draw, you know, if you want an outside bet, maybe look at a Mark Williams each way into the final, maybe a Neil Robertson. I'm not seeing many names jump out on this second half of the draw. I guess Ding Junhui is another one. If we have a look at the odds, so we've got Ronnie O'Sullivan, 9-4 favourite, and then 7-2, we've got second favourite and world champion Mark Selby, and then 7-1, Judd Trump. So already the prices are climbing. 12-1 John Higgins. You know, that's quite long odds for him. Stick a tenner on him each way, or, you know, a fiver each way, something like that. And you could pocket something out of that. Ding Junhui, 14-1. Could be worth a shout. I don't know, if Ronnie goes out, then Ding's got a clear route to the final. It's really, really tough to see anybody else from that half of the draw getting to the final. I mean, Mark and Neil, you know, and maybe the other contenders, but do I see them going all the way to the final? Probably not. You've got Neil Robertson, speaking of, 16-1. Mark Williams, a long 20-1, considering the season he's had. Barry Hawkins, 22-1. Sean Murphy, 22-1 as well as Mark Allen. Maybe their odds are affected by the fact that they're playing Mark Selby so early on, you know, if the draw shapes up. I tell you what, Ryan Day 40-1 might be worth a little punt, because I can see a lot of the big hitters being knocked out in this sort of second half of the draw. No way Joe is streaming 2 days straight. 3 days straight, actually, because of the podcast on Tuesday. So yeah, 3 days straight. And then we've got Kyron Wilson on 30. Well, we've already said that. Marco Fu 80-1. Ali Carter 100-1 is quite an interesting one. A 2-time former runner-up. You know, a fairly comfortable draw. If he can negotiate Graham Dott and Stephen Maguire, say, Ali Carter could get the final, and that's a 100-1 shot. That's a big each-way slice. If you bet on that. Ricky Walden also 100-1. Stephen Maguire himself 100-1. You know, that seems ludicrous, really, but he is playing Ronnie first up. We've then got Jack Lazowski 125-1. And we'll quickly go down to the end. Chris Wakeland, poor Chris Wakeland, a 750-1 shot. I think, you know, if you want to back an outsider, maybe back a Jack Lazowski or Jamie Jones, just stick 50 pence on them to win or something like that. So, you know, you're probably not going to win. Or maybe each way. They're not going to win, but 200-1, 150-1, it will get you a lot of money out of that. Will he make it a fourth? Probably not, Bellix. No. But yeah, that's the odds. Personally, I think it's Ronnie's to lose. If Ronnie turns up and he's playing the way he has done this season, I don't see anyone being able to beat him. I've actually got a £5 bet on Ronnie. It was one of the price boosts a few weeks ago from Sky, before he won the World Grand Prix, I think. So I actually put a fiver on Ronnie. Smart money would go with him. Who would bet against Selby doing well again? You know, I think there's a couple of good prices in there according to Sky Bet. So, you know, definitely some places to look and maybe put your money and just try your hand at it. But no, I think it's going to be a really, really fun tournament. As I said, Ronnie O'Sullivan, Mark Selby will be starting the championship at 10 o'clock on Sunday. The other match will be Marco Fu, I believe. We will just have a little look at that before we go. Ronnie O'Sullivan, I know, is playing Saturday afternoon at 2:30. And we've also got Ronnie playing on the Sunday at 10 o'clock. So his match will be finished on the second day. Other notable matches: Ali Carter, Graham Dott is starting on the first day as well. The Sean Murphy, Jamie Jones match starting on the Sunday. But you will have to wait till Tuesday before you see John Higgins, Judd Trump, players like that are playing a little bit later on. Best of 19 frames in the first round of the Crucible, so 2 session matches, 9 in the first, a potential 10 in the next session. So that'll be really, really good. I'm waiting for the 24 hours playing Football Manager not stop. See what happens in last few hours. You've probably signed Carol. Oh dear. How long have you liked snooker? Since I was probably 5 or 6. I think the first time I went to play snooker on a full-size table was when I was 8. So I probably liked snooker a good couple of years before that. So, you know, the first real matches I remember watching, 2005 World Championship, when, you see, I would have been 7 when that happened. So that probably is about the right sort of time for when I really started liking snooker. And yeah, Joe loves Carol, 2 Geordies with great hair. But yeah, I think that's where we'll leave this preview. If you have enjoyed it, make sure you do leave a like down below. Let me know down in the comments who you think's going to win the World Championship? What do you think of players' odds and stuff like that? I think some of them have got quite long odds, but you know, I think Ronnie O'Sullivan will win. I think it would be lovely to see a Ronnie and Mark Selby final. Again, I think, you know, they are the two best players in snooker at the moment, and it would be nice to see. So, yeah, if you have enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you would like to see more. We have got the snooker game on the channel. The link to that is down below in the description, and hopefully you enjoy the snooker over the next 17 days from Saturday. I can't wait. It'll obviously conclude over bank holiday weekend. 35 frames in the final. That is going to be impressive, incredible, all the brilliant words. I'm really looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Can't wait for it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.